welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Student Body Rights USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPR is my Twitter handle, so check me out there. Again, whatever you can give to the folks out in Jamaica who are going through it. I know people in America are going through it too, but if you can give anything, please do. They're definitely that hurricane really hit the island really hard. It's a great vacation spot for a lot of people, and then like I said, my family's from Jamaica, so definitely anything you can give, anything you can give would be definitely something that I would definitely appreciate if you could. I think next show I'll have something up so you can go ahead and give to the relief efforts there. But let's go right into USC football. USC goes to Nebraska, 21-17 victory. It was ugly. They only had 9 completions. Jacoby Lane had 2 catches. Makai Lemon had 2 catches. It was really just an ugly game as far as that goes. Ryan Sierra continues to be, one of the best kickers in the nation. He had two kicks, along of 49 yards, had a total of 7 points. But I mean, he had just as many field goals as Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon had catches. Tanu Kynes had 2 catches as well, and so did Lake McCree. And then we had the big 43-yard bomb to Jayden Richardson as well. So why am I excited about this victory? Because this is a game where USC would usually lose, especially under Lincoln Riley. They would usually lose this game all the time. So they were able to win this game. They came through in this game. You got to give them you got to give them credit for that. They have struggled in their road woes, if you will be something that we talk about for a long time right now. But and then their road woes is what's probably going to keep them out of the playoff, because if they should have beat Illinois. Illinois wasn't that good, and they had beaten Illinois, they'd be in a great position right now. They'd only have 1 loss, and they'd be undefeated in the conference, and we'd be talking about them doing whatever. But they put themselves in a position where the position I didn't want them to be in, but they have to go to Oregon and win that game. But before they get there, they have two quality opponents. One is Northwestern, and then Iowa. So tomorrow, Coach B and I will preview the Northwestern game, which is on a Friday night. So definitely check your local listings for that one, because it's on a Friday night. It's not on Saturday. It's on Friday night. Everybody has that one Friday night game, if you will. But and then back to this game, I wrote an article for LAFB Network. If you want to go check out that article, go ahead, and it's LAFB Network. I write for them for everything USC, and I talked about it. I talked about Jayden Maiava needing to run the football. He is a long strider. He is a guy who really has a lot of ability to. And I talked about Jayden Maiava's ability to run the football, and he's a long strider. He's very similar. He runs similar. He reminds me of, if I can come up with a comp for Jayden Maiava, I think it's Colin Kaepernick. I think he has some of those same. He has that big arm, rocket launcher arm, can make a lot of throws. Sometimes struggles with low touch, although he did have some touch on the flea flicker to Jayden Richardson. But he once he gets those legs churning, he takes up a lot of ground when he runs. He does a great job with that. So he was able to run for 11 yards, 11 attempts for 62 yards. He had 11 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown was sweet because he's able to get to the outside. He stiff armed the defender and was able to run right into the end zone. So I mean, we got to see him do a lot of things, and I think for me, anybody could sit here and wax poetic when things are going perfectly fine and great. Like, you know what I'm saying? When everything's perfect, and and Jacoby is making plays and all these, but when you're on the road and you have to make plays and you have to go out there and try to do whatever you can to win a game, and you come from behind on the road to win, and it's ugly, and the weather's cold, and all those things like that. All things that that people said USC couldn't do in the Big Ten, they went and did in Nebraska. Now I know it's Nebraska, and Nebraska has that long streak of not winning against ranked opponents. I think it's up to 28 games or something like that. So people are going to say, "Oh my God, you beat Nebraska. What's the big deal?" But those are the same folks who would have killed Lincoln Riley and killed USC if they lost this game. So my only gripe about the game would be if when they had a chance to take the game over and they knocked out the quarterback. I thought they had an opportunity to kind of just run the football, and just have a drive where you ice the game. That would have made me feel a little bit better. But they found a way to win the game, and people can talk about the Nebraska running back Emmett Thomas, who had a great game, slipping and falling on that fourth down. But I mean, at the end of the day, like that TJ Leaf is not TJ Latif is not ready to be a quarterback at this level. He had five attempts, five completions, seven attempts and he had 7 yards. So when USC knocked out the starting quarterback Dylan Raiola, the game was over pretty much at that point. And listen, like I feel bad that he got hurt, obviously, because you don't want to see somebody get hurt. But like people aren't going to cry for USC. Nobody cried for USC when nobody cried for USC when they were playing Utah in the championship game that was going to send them to the playoff, and Caleb got hurt. Like nobody. I mean, you got Utah fans walking around saying that they would have beat USC anyway that day, which I was at the game. I don't know about that, but it is what it is. Good victory. Obviously, we want to see Jayden play better on the road. He has to play better on the road. We want to see Lincoln Riley stop making these ridiculous calls on the road. Be better, be a better play caller on the road. Be more solid. The trick play thing is just like out of control. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I've seen him do kind of resort to that a little bit more than he has before. But see, in this game, I don't mind the flea flicker in this game. I don't mind the trick play in this game. The one early on the first drive on the third down was a little ridiculous. I didn't like that play at all. But later in the game, when they came back and went to the flea flicker, I didn't have a problem with it because they were struggling offensively in this game. Like if you're struggling offensively, like I get it. Like I get it. But when you're kind of moving it like they were at Notre Dame, it's not necessary. Notre Dame had 25 pass interferences. They couldn't guard your receivers. So it is what it is. Good job. They got the job done. They kept the season alive. That's all you can ask them to do. Northwestern's coming up, a solid defensive team. We'll see what USC can do in that. Some really nice contributions from Desmond Stevens. He had 10 tackles, 10 total tackles, 5 solo. Then you had Nicholson, who had a pass interference, but then also had and got beat for a touchdown, but had 5 total tackles, 3 solos. Anthony Lucas, I thought had a big game. He was a factor in this game. 7 tackles, a tackle for loss, 4 solo tackles, and a sack in the ball game. And that sack was critical. That sack was critical because in the sack they had against Dylan Raiola really kind of changed the course of the entire game for SC. Eric Gentry had 8 catches, had 8 tackles, and then had 3 solo tackles as well. So you want to listen. They're any team in college football, unless you're right now, I guess Ohio State, they're going to leave you wanting some more. And USC definitely leaves you in that spot. I mean, I didn't like the fourth and 1. They didn't get that one. I didn't like running on 4th and 2. It was a long 4th and 2. I felt like they could have got something on the outside with him and King Miller. Just something in the playbook besides just kind of running up the middle with Brian Jackson. Jackson had 5 attempts for 20 yards. They ran the ball pretty well. 38 attempts, 202 yards, and obviously King Miller was it's crazy. I think I know people want King Miller to maybe get like a bunch of different more carries and everything like that. I think 18, I think 22 to 18 is right about where he is. He's averaging some ridiculous 9 yards a carry. They do have to be careful here because Eli Sanders is not coming back. And I don't think Women Jordan is not coming back this year either. I don't think either running backs are coming back this year. So you're with King Miller, Harry Dalton the third, and Brian Jackson for the rest of the season. And obviously the bell cow right now is King Miller. So do you want to kill him? You want to kill King Miller with like 30 carries right now? I don't know if you want to do that because if he ever went down, then you're looking at, Harry Dalton the third and Brian Jackson. And that's not what you want. So I guess the USC did say that all the running backs they have on the roster right now are available. So we'll see if like that's a thing. If that's something if they have to go any deeper into their pockets here, in their backfield to see what they're gonna do. I do expect, like I said, this game coming up here, I expect a really balanced attack. I think that you're gonna see more. I think the passing game will be tighter this week. They'll get the ball to Makai. They'll get the ball to Jacoby. I think Tanu Kynes is showing that he's ready for prime time and he's pretty fearless as well. So they always have Walker Lyons and Lake McCree as well. So we'll see that. We'll see. I think we'll see a better showing for the passing game. But listen, you win. You on the road against a Big Ten opponent in the cold weather. Like I didn't like the fact that they didn't take the game over and have that finishing drive to kind of like walk, run it, kind of like walk into the victory a little bit easier. Like, what I mean? The game was still in doubt. It'd be nice to see if they can just like kind of just have that killer instinct and just like end the game where they weren't able to do that, but they won and they won. And the end of the day, that's all that really matters. If we had that game, if we could have won that game in Illinois, then maybe, it would have been a whole different story there too. Like, I mean, at the way the game and way the game ended out in Champaign. So, USC 21, and then Nebraska 17. I think that pretty much ends. I mean, from what I've seen from Lee, that's going to be a really difficult game for it's going to be a really difficult situation for them. I don't think Latif is going to be a guy who can pass the ball well. It changes the Cornhuskers dramatically, if you will, to lose Dylan Riola. And we'll see what happens with them in the future. But like I said, USC getting ready now on a short week. I know Lincoln Riley complained about a short week. I'm not sure what Lincoln Riley wants for a schedule. I mean, like they got to stop. I mean, I think at some point we have to stop complaining about the schedule because it is what it is, bro. Like the schedule is what it is. So like let's just stop like doing all that stuff and just get ready to play your next game. It's on a Friday. If you can win that game, then you're good to go. You got a little bit rest. You can watch some games on Saturday if you're USC, and then and get ready for a big game against Iowa. I think a lot of people are. It's interesting. A lot of people are picking Iowa to win against Oregon this week. They're picking a lot of people. Like a lot of people are picking that game. So if that happened, I would say that Iowa, USC, Oregon could be for a playoff spot. Period. Because they went to that game with 2 losses. So we'll have to see. I don't know. They have players in that, and they're different in that building. Iowa. They're not. I don't think they're as imposing on the road. But we'll see. We'll see how that game goes. A great game a great matchup this week in the Big Ten between Iowa and Oregon too. So you get to watch that without worrying about the Trojans on Saturday as far as that goes. But all right, so nobody right USC podcast. I'll just kind of get some quick notes in here about the kind of wrap up the game that they just played. I think that's pretty much it as far as that goes. Once I get to all 22. I'll look at it, let you know what I think, and could kind of review that and see where the issues were last week. I think sometimes the defensive coordinator just wins, and I think they won this game. I don't think that they locked up. I think in this game they kind of locked up the passing game. I don't think Notre Dame game they locked up the passing game. I think there were a lot of drops in that game. I think the USC just kind of shied away from the Moore versus Micah Lemon matchup where Micah Lemon really had him ready to go. Um, and had him beat on some plays, but he kind of looked somewhere else, so that's why Jacoby Lane had a big game as far as that goes. But two games in a row where Micah Lemon really didn't get going. I would expect Micah to have a big game against Northwestern coming up on Sunday. I'm sorry, on Friday. It's Friday. The game is on Friday. Don't say it's not on Sunday. It's not on Sunday. All right, folks. Student by Right USC podcast. See you next time. Shout out to Chris Trevino as well. I know he is not with CBS anymore, but he was always a great guest to have on the show, and we definitely appreciate his time when he was on with us as far as that is. All right, peace. See you next time. Fight on.